Something unbelievable just happened in Italy, and the world is trying to pretend it didn't. A nation that once stood silent has now erupted, and Israeli military shipments are burning. This isn't protest as usual. This is a full blown uprising against genocide. A moment where ordinary workers say no more, and the shockwaves are already shaking European politics to its core. Today, we are going deep into the firestorm Italy has unleashed because what began on the streets of Turin and Genoa may be the beginning of Israel's biggest international reckoning yet. And let me tell you this, the anger in Italy is not just about Gaza, it is about the pattern, the history, the hypocrisy of Western governments who claim to defend human rights in other places but turn their cheerleaders, whenever war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu orders another massacre in Gaza. Italy, home of powerful labor unions and one of the most politically active working classes in Europe, finally said no more. Not in our name. Videos like this face a lot of censorship by YouTube. Kindly, take a moment because what we're going to share is tremendous. Take a moment to like and share and subscribe if you haven't already. This was not just a crowd shouting slogan. These were dock workers in Turin and Genoa, ordinary people, mechanics, port staff, technicians, standing shoulder to shoulder against their own government complicity. This same Italy where workers once refused to load weapons back for apartheid South Africa is now refusing to load weapons as well for apartheid Israel. And sometimes it gets me thinking, history do repeat itself. Hundreds poured into the street of Turin, flags of Palestine, cover the skyline. In Genoa, the protests swelled even larger, and this time it wasn't just activists, it was global voices of moral authority. UN Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese was there, the same woman wanted by war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu's government, and the government has tried to smear because she speaks uncomfortable truth. Yanis Varoufakis, came as well, bringing the kind of intellectual firepower European elite fear. And then Greta Thunberg showed up, a young woman who has already been targeted, attacked, and vilified by pro-Israeli institutions simply because she refused to keep quiet while Gaza was burning. But here's where the story gets even more explosive. Before police before police could clamp down, reports began emerging that one Israeli ship and a military cargo train were set ablaze. Not symbolic damage, not stick-up protest, not chants alone, flames, real flames, flames that forced the Italian authorities to halt everything and began the review of military shipments that were quietly being funneled towards Israel under Giorgia Meloni's far-right government.
In Italy, clashes erupted between police and protesters in the northern city of Bologna as thousands took to the streets to protest against the presence of an Israeli basketball team in the city.
We mustn't allow Israel to play any sport because it's a sport washing, it's a normalization of a genocidal state, and we are here to show Israel the red card.
Police fired tear gas and used water cannons to disperse the demonstrators who were chanting slogans in support of the people of Palestine and waving Palestinian flags. Protesters denounced the decision to hold a match between Virtus Bologna and Maccabi Tel Aviv in the city. They called for Israel to be suspended from international sports competitions. The demonstration comes amid growing anti-Israel sentiments in the world over the regime's actions in Gaza, with activists urging a boycott of Israeli sports teams. In recent months, the participation of Israeli sports teams in European competitions has sparked protests in many cities.
Then the demonstration snowballed into a nationwide paralysis. Milan's Malpensa airport, one of the busiest in Europe, had to cancel 27 flights. Bologna cancelled 17. Naples, Venice, Linate all hit. ITA Airways grounded 26 domestic flights. Train system collapsed across Rome, Turin, Milan, and Genoa. In Milan's Lamberate station, trains couldn't even stop because protesters had taken over the platforms. Think about that. A European nation's transportation network shut down, not because of a natural disaster, not because of a political election, but because the people refused to let Israel's war machine pass through their soil. This is what real pressure actually looks like, and Netanyahu understands it quite well. And we have to be very honest. This is the kind of international uprising Netanyahu feared when he ignored every global warning about turning Gaza into rubble. He thought he could intimidate the world with F-35 flyovers and PR campaigns, but he forgot that you cannot bomb people into silence. You cannot massacre children and then still demand applause, and you cannot commit genocide and expect Europe, the same Europe that once said never again, to pretend they didn't say it. Italy saw it. Italy reacted. Italy moved. And let me leave you with this thought, because it is very crucial before I basically end this video. What we are witnessing is not just a protest. It is a shift in global political consciousness. Italians are recognizing that assisting Israel today is no different than assisting apartheid regimes in the past. Dock workers are refusing to be accessories. Airport staffs are refusing to be silent. Students, union, intellectuals, and almost everybody, they are all converging into a unified force. And if this continues, if Europe workers continue blocking Israeli cargo, disrupting flight, halting military shipment, then for the very first time in decades, Israel will face a resistance not only in Gaza or Lebanon, but across the very Western capitals that once enabled its aggression. This is a turning point, ladies and gentlemen, and Netanyahu knows it. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for staying to this point of the video. I sincerely appreciate you, but I obviously need your support. You can do that by subscribing to enable us, promote honest journalism. And until I see you in the next one, God bless you.